This is the plaintiff, Larry Bean. He says he was hired to bring the defendant's 52-foot boat on a 350-mile ocean journey from Santa Cruz to Los Angeles. But when he arrived at the dock, the boat wouldn't start. He rented a car, brought and paid for a crew member to join him, and was ready, willing and able to make the sail. The defendant refuses to pay him the balance of what he owes, and he's suing the landlubber here and now for the $425 he owes. This is the defendant, Rod Perdue. He says the plaintiff arrived at his boat and called him to say he didn't know how to turn the navigational lights on. Then the plaintiff said he had to leave to do another job, so he had to hire another captain to make the voyage. That captain had no problem with his boat or the lights, and it's as clear as the blue sea the plaintiff was in over his head, and it's his own fault he couldn't complete the job. He's accused of not being in ship-shape condition.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff was hired to take the defendant's 52-foot boat on a 350-mile run from Santa Cruz to L.A., but the boat wouldn't start and he wants his money back for the crew. The defendant says the plaintiff didn't know how to start it. It's the case of you're not seaworthy.
Okay, Larry Bean, you are suing Rod Perdue for $425, the balance that you say you're owed on a contract to captain a boat that he'd purchased, down to him or up to him. Down to him, that according to him, you did not do and he doesn't want to pay you. Tell me what happened.
Well, he hired me to deliver his boat from Santa Cruz, California to L.A.
Okay, let's hold on one second. You purchased a boat sight unseen?
No. It was a repossession. It's a boat that I sold 3 years ago.
Oh.
And I was retrieving the boat because the guy, for non-payment, he handed over the keys and said the boat was operational.
Okay, the guy told you, the guy who wasn't paying you said the boat was operational.
Correct.
So how far is Santa Cruz from LA?
About 300 nautical miles.
How long does that take?
35 hours.
Oh, that's far. Okay. Okay, so you are from LA?
Yes.
So you drive to Santa Cruz, you're hired by him to drive to Santa Cruz, which takes how long?
I rented a car and hired a captain to help me, yes.
Say that again.
I rented a car and drove up there with a hired help.
Right, and how long did that ride take?
All day,
All
8
day.
in the morning to 5.
Okay, so you get there and what happens? And how big is this boat?
52 feet.
Oh, this is a yacht, not a boat. Okay, so you get there and what happens?
The starboard engine didn't start.
Okay, so one engine would start but not the other?
Correct.
Okay. And what was wrong with it? Do you know?
It didn't turn over. It clicked like the battery was dead.
Okay, what time of the day or night did you get there?
About 5 p.m.
Okay, and so did you call him?
Yes.
And what did he say?
He wanted me to wait for a crew or a mechanic to come the next day and fix it.
What about a mechanic coming right then?
It was 5 in the afternoon.
There were no options like that of having a mechanic come out at that moment?
I was willing to try, but he didn't give me that option.
Because what?
I was there all night. He could have hired somebody.
What
if he
happened?
could. Nothing happened. He didn't
But
hire.
I mean, you didn't wait because what?
I didn't wait. Oh, I had obligations Saturday. I had to get back. I told him that before I took the job.
Wow, you're cutting it close.
Yeah, I had no time to spare.
So tell me exactly how you say the conversation went, and then I'm going to ask you exactly how you say the conversation went. Go ahead.
Well, when I called him, I said, the starboard engine doesn't work. Do you have any ideas? And he said, well, not really. Just wait and see if I can get a mechanic the next day.
And then you
But
said...
I told him I was going to wait there all night and drive back the next day.
You said you were going to wait there all night
Well,
and then drive your car back the next
Well, I
day.
rented a car. I got the same
Right.
car.
Right.
So he had all night to try to find somebody.
Okay. And according to you, how'd the conversation go?
He literally said that he couldn't wait and he had to leave. He was not giving me any option to get a mechanic there.
Well, well, what did you say to him?
I said to him very specifically, I'll get a mechanic and resolve the problem.
Okay, but he stayed there. He didn't drive back until the next morning.
He just told me absolutely that he had to leave and he couldn't wait no matter what.
Okay, do you guys have a contract?
Yes.
Okay, let me see the contract. I assume that your contract says that he's supposed to make sure the boat's operational, right?
Yep.
You're not a mechanic, right?
No.
Okay. Client is to be responsible for the following: the seaworthiness of the vessel, all electronic mechanical equipment necessary for the safe operation of the vessel, being in good working condition, including but not limited to engines, blah, 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 blah. Okay, why didn't you have somebody take a look at it and make sure all this was in order before you sent a guy all the way to Santa Cruz?
Simply because the person that had the boat told me it was in working order.
That's the same clown who wasn't paying you.
I would agree in retrospect, but the problem is that I sent another captain up there 2 weeks later.
Right.
And he got the boat down there without any incident whatsoever.
Is your implication that you did not have a mechanic take a look at the boat in the meantime?
There was never a mechanic involved. The boat worked fine.
I'm sorry. You were repossessing a 52-foot yacht. Someone tells you your engine's not turning, and you take the risk of sending a second captain without sending a mechanic to take a look at it?
Yes.
Because I'm finding that incredibly hard to digest.
Okay, so here's the thing. The defendant hires another captain to go up and doesn't send a mechanic after the first guy says it didn't work. Is that suspicious to you? What do you think?
Yeah, it really is. I don't know why you just keep sending captains when you clearly know something's wrong.
Well, that's the thing. You agree with that, ma'am?
Yes, definitely.
That's about all the time you have going inside the courtroom.
When someone calls me that says he's a captain and doesn't know how to turn on the navigational lights, doesn't ask me about fuel for the trip,
What do you mean doesn't ask you about fuel for the trip?
Well, he never mentioned anything about fuel. I told him that the tanks were probably about 3/4 full. But he never asked me about a credit card or cash to pay for fuel that would make that trip.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the contract, and the contract says that you're responsible for fuel. Did you read this before you came to? I mean, I'd like to think I'd make somebody a little more nervous than this. Fuel at the beginning of the client is responsible for fuel at the beginning of the trip and the reimbursement of captain of any fuel required. I'm right. The guy has his own credit card. He plans to submit it to you for reimbursement. He didn't say it's right in the contract in black and white. Mm-hmm. What's your defense?
Pardon me?
What's your defense?
What's my defense?
Yes.
My defense is that I sent another captain up there that was able to complete the job and not have a problem.
You think this guy didn't want to complete this contract after he drove how many hours again?
About 8.
Okay. To go and what had only been paid at that point, how much? The half of the contract. Mm-hmm. So he still has to make the other $425. He's already there. He's ready, willing, and able to take care of it. And you think how long have you been doing this?
Sailing, 45 years.
Okay.
The weather conditions were perfect, too. I really wanted to do it.
Right. And is there something fantastical about this particular engine that required some extra expertise that you didn't?
The port engine was the same engine, and it started fine.
Okay.
And I had another captain with me, and he's no dummy. I mean,
okay. I don't think you're a dummy either. $425 verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
And so the defendant comes out on the losing end of this case because couldn't put up much of a defense there against the charge.
Well, I don't share that view. When I had another captain go up there successfully complete the job, what I tried to relate was that I felt that it was a level of incompetence why he didn't complete the job.
All right, right around the corner this way. All right, the captain.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about coming out here?
Good. I mean, it's what it should have been. It was a simple case of breach of contract.
Yeah. Your reputation was on the line in there as a ship captain? Or?
Not really.
Well, he's out here making all kinds of claims about your competence.
I called him to ask where a light switch was. That makes me incompetent.
Harvey?
You know, judges are allowed to use common sense. They don't always have to just rely on the evidence if something is so clear. And in this case, honestly, common sense dictated the whole thing because the defendant's case made no sense.